Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Again, I am here with you, Dr. Sayyid Salman Shafkat, talking about magnetochemistry, and we have successfully closed our topic related to magnetic states of materials. In this lecture number 8, we shall move towards another related topic related to magnetochemistry. Key points of this lecture are magnetic moment and magnetic moment calculations for transition metal complexes, and at the end I have some questions for you. Now we shall talk about magnetic properties of coordination compounds. An interesting characteristics of transition metal is their ability to form magnets. Metal complexes that have unpaired electrons are magnets, are particularly, we can say, metal complexes they have unpaired electrons are paramagnetic in their nature. Since the last electrons reside in the d orbital, this magnetism must be due to having unpaired electrons. Considering only monometallic complexes, unpaired electrons arise because the complex has an odd number of electrons or because electron pairing is destabilized. For example, monomeric titanium 3 species have one d electron and must be paramagnetic regardless of the geometry or nature of the ligand. And on the other hand, titanium plus 2 with two d electrons form some complexes that have two unpaired electrons and others with one. We know titanium belongs to first series of transition elements. Its atomic number is 22 and it has electronic configuration 4s2 3d2. When it is in oxidation state plus 3, so it means titanium has 0 uh, 1 electron in D, because 2 of the electrons will be eliminated from 4s, and in case of titanium plus 2 it will have 2 electrons in D because 2 electrons have been eliminated from 4s2. In a further slide or further lecture, I have a proper explanation with their orbital level diagram for the complete understanding of this statement. So no need to be worried, but it's not so complicated thing that I told you. All of you are final year students, so I expect that you have understanding of electronic configuration of titanium. As an example, iron prefers to exist as iron plus 3 and is known to have coordination number of 6. Since the configuration of iron plus 3 has 5 d electrons, so we would expect to see 5 unpaired electrons in complexes with iron. This is true for FeF6 having -3 charge. However, for hexacyanoferrate only has one unpaired electron, making it a weaker magnet. This trend can be explained based on their properties of ligands. We expect cyanide to have a strong field ligand and the fluoride, so the energy difference between the d orbitals should be greater for the cyanide complexes. This description have been discussed in very much detail in 5th semester of BA students and 1st semester of MS students. In your previous semester course that was entitled as coordination chemistry. In that course, you have studied different theories regarding the explanation of structure and properties of transition metal complexes. Among those theories, one of them is very well known as and famous theory is crystal field splitting theory. According to that theory, that d orbitals are of two types. Three of them are non-axial orbitals and marked as dxy, dyz, and dzx, and the other two is dx square, y square, and dz square are axial orbitals. When a ligand approaches to transition metal atom, so it breaks degeneracy of these orbitals. It depends on the strength of ligand that how much it can it can make them far from each other. If a ligand is strong, then the difference between these two types of orbitals, they are known as T2G and EG, will be higher, but for a weak field ligand, the difference will be less. So when there is a weak field ligand and there is much less difference between these two types of orbitals, then electron can easily move from T to G to EG orbital. And there are chances of presence of electrons in different orbitals with same spin. And we will encounter with more unpaired electrons with more magnetic moment. In contrast, in case of strong field ligand, the difference between these two type of orbitals will be higher, and it will not be easy for electron to move to the orbitals at higher energy level. Consequently, electron will be restricted to T2G orbitals, and they will be in paired form, and complex will exhibit less value of magnetic moment. Here is the description that I told you on my previous slide, that these are five d orbitals x, y, z, and z, y. These are non-axial orbitals x square, y square, and dz square. These are axial orbitals. When ligand approaches these orbitals, it breaks their degeneracy. Three of them become at lower energy level and two of them goes to higher energy level. Fluoride is a weak field ligand, that's why these two type of orbitals are closer to each other, while cyanide is a strong field ligand, that's why electrons are restricted to lower orbitals and are present in paired form. Only one orbital is unpaired, but in case of iron hexafluorophorate, all of the electrons are in unpaired form. So this is a crystal field theory splitting diagram, example of influence of ligand electronic properties on d orbital. This shows the comparison of low spin versus high spin electron. In order for this to make sense, there must be some sort of energy benefit to having paired spin 4 or cyanide complexes. This is the energy level difference must be more than the repulsive energy of pairing electrons together. Since system strives to achieve the lowest energy possible, the electron will pair up before they will move to the higher orbitals. This is referred to as low spin, and the electrons moving up before pairing is known as high spin. Tetrahedral complexes have naturally weaker splitting because none of the ligand lie within the plane of the orbital. As a result, they have either too many or too few d electrons to warrant worrying about high spin or low spin. So it means the category of low spin and high spin complexes is only possible for octahedral complexes, because in octahedral complexes there are possibility of electrons to reside in two types of orbitals, but in tetrahedral complexes there is no such type of possibility. Scale plane complexes, on the other hand, stem solely from transition metals with 8 electrons: hexacyanoniclate, tetraamine chloroplatinum, and tetrachloroplatinate are all diamagnetic. Uh, you are familiar that when there is a negative charge on transition metal complex, then it is named with a metal ending at ATE, and its Latin name is used. But on the other hand, when there is a positive charge on transition complex, then metal will carry its English name. So that's why I used for the first example hexacyanoniclate, and for the second I used tetraamine chloroplatinum, and the last one is tetrachloroplatinate. This is difference between two complexes of platinum, that the name represents whether there is a positive or negative charge on overall complex. Since this encompasses the full spectrum of ligand strength, so we can conclude that scale planar compounds are always low spin and therefore are weakly magnetic. In bi and polymeric complexes, in which the individual centers have an odd number of electrons or high spin, the situation is more complicated. If there is interaction between the two or more metal complexes, the electrons may couple, resulting in a weak magnet, or they may enhance each other. When there is no interaction, the two or more individual metal centers behave as if in two separate molecules. Magnetic properties of transition metal ions and their complexes. When the transition metal ions or their complexes are placed in a magnetic field, they show different behaviors. On this basis behavior, these substances have been classified as paramagnetic, diamagnetic, ferromagnetic, antiferromagnetic, and ferrimagnetic substances. The transition metal complexes, whose central atom ion contain one or more unpaired electrons, are paramagnetic, while those whose central metal atom ion has no unpaired electrons behave as diamagnetic substances. The paramagnetic character increases with the increase in number of unpaired electrons. The paramagnetism of a substance is expressed in terms of its magnetic moment. As we know from the beginning, that magnetization is usually expressed in magnetic susceptibility in grams in volume in molar mass, and that magnetic susceptibility can be converted into the most useful unit of magnetization, that is magnetic moment. The larger the number of unpaired electrons in the central metal atom ion in a given complex, the greater is the paramagnetic behavior, and hence larger is the value of magnetic moment of that complex compound. The magnetic moment is expressed in Bohr magneton, that is represented in Bm. Paramagnetic substances have some values of magnetic moments, while diamagnetic substances have zero value of their magnetic moment, but their magnetic susceptibility will have some negative value. This is the point that we have discussed in our earlier topics. To deduce a formula for the calculating the magnetic moment of transition metal complexes, let us consider a transition metal complex of 3D elements whose central metal ion contains only unpaired electron in 3D orbitals. The magnetic moment of one unpaired electron is equal to the sum of magnetic moment due to its orbital motion called orbital magnetic moment, and due to its spin motion called spin magnetic moment. Thus, mu will be equal to mu L plus mu S. Now, since mu L is equal to under root of L into L plus 1, having unit E h over 4 pi mc, and mu S is equal to 2 into under root of S plus 1, having unit of E h over 4 pi mc. Now we shall combine these two values of mu S and mu L. So we shall get a combined formula. Both of the magnetic moments have a unit of EH over 4 pi mc. So when these two factors are added, then this unit will be labeled or named as Bm, and Bm is called as Bohr magneton, which is equal to EH over 4 pi mc. B1 Bm is equal to 9.27 into 10 raised to power minus 21 arc per gas, where E is charge on electron, E is Planck's quantum number, m is mass of electron, and c is the velocity of. In case of transition metal ions of 3D series, the crystal field, that is ligand surrounding the metal ion, restrict the movement of electron around the nucleus in orbital, and hence magnetic moment due to orbital motion of mu L is quenched, and L into L plus 1 whole under root becomes 0, or we can say this is as low as negligible. Thus, the magnetic moment of unpaired electrons in residing 3D orbital of ions in 3D series element is given by only spin only formula. So there mu will be equal to 2 into under root of S plus S1. If a metal ion has 3, 4 or n number of unpaired electrons, the value of magnetic moment for n unpaired electrons will be called as effective magnetic moment and will be obtained by putting the sum of spin of quantum numbers of n unpaired electrons. So sometimes a question is asked as a short answer, what do you know by quenching of angular momentum moment? So the first line of this slide is the answer that the ligands in surrounding the metal restrict the movement of electrons around the nucleus in orbital, and hence magnetic moment due to orbital motion of mu L is quenched. So the ligand cannot restrict the spin movement of electron. Spin, we know that there are two types of movements of electron. One is spin and the other one is angular. So ligand can only be effective on angular momentum. So that's why only angular momentum gets quenched, and for 3D elements there is only the phenomena of see, since S is equal to half for one electron, the sum of S for 2, 3, 4 and n unpaired electron is equal to 2 into half, 3 into half, 4 into half, so on, and n into half, respectively. Thus, the mu effective for unpaired electron is given by mu effective is equal to n by n into n by 2 plus 1 Bohr magneton. So the simple form of this formula will become equal to n into n plus 2 Bohr magneton. Since the mu value of mu effective is only due to spin motion of an n unpaired electron, it is called spin only magnetic moment and is represented by mu s or mu effective for low transition elements. So sometimes you are asked that write down spin only formula So for that one, you can write under root of n into n plus 2. Above equation shows that magnitude of mu effective depends on the number of unpaired electrons present in given species. For value of mu effective for different number of unpaired electrons can be calculated with the help of above equation as shown. So one by one we can see for number of unpaired electron 0, 1, 2, 3 and 5, mu effective can be calculated by putting the value of uh, n in the equation. For 0, understood the value of effective magnetic moment will be equal to 0. For 1 electron, the value of magnetic moment is equal to 1.34. For 2 unpaired electron, the value of effective magnetic moment will be equal to 2. For 3 unpaired electron, the value is 3 point something. So even for 5, the first digit of Bohr magneton will be equal to 5. Thus, we see that greater the number of unpaired electrons, greater is the value of mu effective. The value of mu effective of a given complex ion whose central metal atom is in form of 3D species depend on number of unpaired electrons present in 3D orbital of the central metal atom. Greater the number of unpaired electrons present in 3D orbital of central atom, greater will be the value of table as we saw in the table. The complex ions which have a definite value of mu effective are paramagnetic. Now let us consider a complex ion of 3D series elements whose central metal contains all the electrons in the paired state in 3D. That is, central metal atom contains no unpaired electron in the 3D. For example, copper plus 1, zinc plus 2. These elements have D completely filled. Since two electrons residing in the same orbital have opposite spin and the magnetic field produced by one electron is cancelled by the effect produced by the other electron which has opposite spin, and consequently the resultant magnetic moment will become equal to 0. The substances having mu effective 0 are known as diamagnetic substances. The value of mu effective for complexes compounds whose central metal atom contains no electron at all in 3D orbitals or vacant 3D orbitals like scandium plus 3, titanium plus 4 are is equal to 0, and hence such complexes are also diamagnetic. The table on the next slide contains the value of mu effective calculated from the above equation for some complexes of elements, and also the observed or experimental values of uh, compounds are also given in the same table. So we can also have a comparative analysis of calculated values and experimental values of different types of transition. The calculated and observed values of effective magnetic moment in some complex compound of 3D elements. N is the number of unpaired electrons present in d orbital of a central metal atom. The numbers given in the bracket in the column of n, third column, indicates number of unpaired electrons predicted on the basis of experimental value of mu given in the law. So we can see the value of at the first column there are name of ions. In the second column there are presented number of unpaired electrons, n is showing number of unpaired electrons, and in the column number 4 there is an example of that particular transition metal cation, and in fifth column there is a geometry or shape of that particular complex, and in second last column there is the value of calculated value from the formula, and in last column there is the actual value of magnetic moment calculated from any type of magnetometer or Gauss balance or Faraday's balance. We can see for the values up till iron plus 3, the experimental and calculated values through formula are very near to each other. They have a very uh, small difference, so it means this formula is suitable to calculate theoretically the value of magnetic moment for different type of complexes. In case of iron plus 2, cobalt plus 2, nickel plus 2, these three examples have variation in expected and theoretical value. Now we come towards copper plus 2, zinc plus 2 and scandium plus 3. These three cations also have their both of the values very close to each other. For iron plus 3, there are two possibilities. One possibility is, as we discussed at the start of this lecture, two different complexes. One of them was hexacyanoferrate and the other one was hexafluoroferrate. In that example, we also discussed crystal field splitting pattern related to different cations, different ligands. You can see there is in third column, uh, just below 5, there is mentioned 1 in parenthesis. 3d5 actually have two possible cases. One is that in which all of the 5 electrons are unpaired, and the second possibility is that 4 electrons are paired and one is unpaired. I'm talking about the in the table. There is a horizontal line between scandium and iron. Now I am talking about the complexes which are below this line. Similarly, for cobalt plus 3, there are also two cases. 4 unpaired electrons, and in parentheses it is mentioned that 4 electrons are paired. Similarly, cobalt plus 2 has 3 uh, unpaired electrons and 1, and in case of nickel plus 2 there are also two possible cases. The values of magnetic moments mentioned in the last and second last tables are actually in the last table. The value is calculated for 5 unpaired electrons, and the value present in the last table is presenting the number of unpaired electrons mentioned in parentheses. So the description for the last column is same. Experimental value for mu. The description for the last two columns is experimental. Um, magnetic moment value for 5 electrons in case of iron, and the last one 1.73 is for one unpaired electron. Here I have posed questions for you. Uh, what do you know about quenching of angular momentum? Second one is, what is the difference between angular momentum and spin momentum, and why iron iron prefers to exist in octahedral geometry. With this, I would like to say thank you so much. We'll see you in the next lecture. Allah Hafiz. Assalamu alaikum.